You guys are slowly moving up. Yeah. I promise you won't. Well, thank you all for coming out today, especially after being rescheduled from, I don't even remember how many inches of snow was that time. Yeah. There's one little patch out front, but otherwise I think we're okay, thank goodness. And the rain seems to be holding off, so that's great. I know most of you, but my name is Erin Nam. I am the Counseling and Education Coordinator at the Adelphi Breast Cancer Program. And I'm really, really excited to bring this forum to all of us about stress relief. I know I can use it too. We started, when I first started the program back in June, I guess is when I started, we decided to do a survey to see what people might be interested in. And the #1 topic was stress relief. No surprise, I think we all experience stress. And then when you have an illness that you're also dealing with, the stress is compounded and it goes back and forth. So we reached out to some wonderful speakers and are excited to listen to what they have to say. The other top 2 programs that were asked for were exercise and nutrition. And I think we have both people nailed down or just nailing down time, so check the website. And hopefully in May we'll have 2, so we're really excited about that as well. So we have 2 speakers this afternoon who are experts on stress relief. Our first speaker is Dr. Jonathan Jackson. He is trained as a clinical psychologist. He served as the director of the training clinic in the doctoral program in clinical psychology at Adelphi since 1986. In addition to his role as director, he also teaches and supervises Ph.D. students in the program. He has an abiding interest in the well-being of all people and has studied a myriad of approaches to help with human suffering, including psychoanalysis, cognitive behavioral therapy, and most recently, mindfulness meditation. So hopefully we'll get to hear a little bit about that. Our second speaker will be Lauren Fisch. She is a New York State licensed massage therapist, a dance movement therapist, and a yoga instructor. I think some of you may have met Lauren before. She holds a BS in dance education from NYU and an MS in dance movement therapy from Hunter College. She received training in massage therapy and also shiatsu and yoga. So we have a whole bunch of different things she'll be able to tell us. She's worked in a wide range of clinical settings and works with breast cancer survivors regularly to help with these stress. So I'm going to turn it over to Jonathan, and then we'll turn it over to Lauren and have questions at the end, okay? Thank you.
Thanks, Erin. Thank you for coming. Thanks, Erin, and all the people who are involved on the staff that is cancer support group. As Erin indicated, I've been at Adelphi for a while, about exactly 29 years, and this program was here before I got here, so I know that there's a wonderful history. If you're honored then to participate. Also, just a sort of a point of curiosity, Lauren Fisch and I are separated by only 1 degree. Her husband was a doctoral student, coincidentally, in the program where I'm located now. So we have just one little person separated. One wonderful person, but I know him pretty well. So I want to talk to you about mindfulness, but I want to do a quick, short survey first. So I have my prediction is okay. How many of you have heard the term mindfulness and have some familiarity with it? Okay, that's about right. I wrote down 80%, and it looks like it's a little closer to 70 or 75%. Mindfulness is enjoying what somebody described as a zeitgeist moment right now. It's in the air. You hear it. People are writing about it. People are talking about it. People are practicing it. And people are applying it. It started slowly and it just gained momentum. And it seems like now it's kind of like thing. So I'm not at all surprised that you've heard about it. Maybe some of you have already practiced it. I'm going to talk about what it is. I'm going to describe why we're interested in mindfulness, and talk about how mindfulness is practiced. Usually they go together, mindfulness and meditation. It's the phrase mindfulness meditation. I'll describe that a little more clearly to you so you have a pretty good idea of what it is. And I can give you some resources too after at the end if you want to follow up yourselves to get more actual experience with the practice. Mindfulness is quite simply, although deceptively simply, paying attention to the present moment without judgment. That's neat, that's simple. It's actually got a lot to it, which I'll take apart and talk about a little bit later. It's the intentional, accepting, and non-judging focus on one's attention, on emotions, thoughts, and sensations that may occur in the present moment. It can be trained through meditation practice. You can learn to train yourself to become more fully mindful. And this form of meditation, mindfulness meditation, is also termed Vipassana meditation. Vipassana is an Indian term, and Vipassana literally means inward vision. It's also translated to as a verb, to see things as they really are. We'll return to these ideas a little bit later. Why are we interested in mindfulness as a practice? It has health benefits, for one, very important, physical and mental both. Mindfulness practice is considered a form of complementary medicine currently. And 30 to 50% of cancer patients will actually utilize some form of complementary medicine through the course. And it helps them in a lot of different ways. One being, importantly, that with complementary medicine, you can help yourself. This is something that you can do for yourself. You really don't need your doctor for it. It's empowering as a result. How mindfulness is practiced through meditation. And meditation, sometimes people get a little concerned about that. Well, I don't know how to meditate. Or to be a meditator, don't you have to? And people think of people going off for years at a time, leaving their lives and studying with perhaps a Buddhist priest, learning meditation practices. I want to distinguish for you between formal, very formal, and informal meditation. Very formal meditation would be practiced by somebody, for example, who left his life, her life, and went off, typically to India, and there are examples in the literature of people like that. Jack Kornfield was a well-known mindfulness person who was, left his life, did that for years at a time. Mark Epstein, who you may, know, has written books with really interesting titles, Going to Pieces Without Falling Apart, The Trauma of Everyday Life, two titles, recent books of his. He's done something similar, a very formal practitioner of meditation. You can be a formal practitioner of meditation and do it every day. You can do it 3 times a week. You can be an informal practitioner of meditation and do it occasionally. That's as far as I've got to be somewhat informal about it. I'll tell you a little bit more about what my training is in it. But meditation is something that can be practiced at different times, different ways, at different moments through the course of a day, a week, or a year. And it's always available to you, mindfulness and meditation. And you can forget about it. It's usually pretty close, pretty nearby. That's something you can very easily pick up. So how we practice it is through this practice, this meditation thing. Walking, you can meditate while walking, you can meditate while eating, you can meditate while thinking, talking, just being. The only time you can't is when you sleep. Now I want to tell you, I kind of broke this down into like like 6 different narratives or 6 different stories. I'm probably going to skip one of them. The one about the science is kind of boring. Okay, we'll start with the one that began 2,500 years ago. Meditation is an ancient spiritual practice and contemporary mind-body technique for relaxing the body and the mind, and for clarifying thought. Most meditative techniques have come to the West, to us, from Asian religious practices, particularly India, China, and Japan. But similar techniques can be found in cultures around the world. Until relatively recently, the primary purpose of meditation has been religious, although its health benefits have also been recognized in these cultures where the methods originated. In the West, though, the early view was that meditation induced a kind of dissociative state where people were sort of not there, physically there, but mentally absent in some way. And then years ago, a physician named Herbert Benson. Anybody recognize that name, Herbert Benson? Anybody ever heard of the relaxation response? Okay, he's the originator of the term. So about a number of years ago, he did some pioneering research when meditation was still considered a religious practice and not appropriate for healthcare settings. It was fringe stuff. You know, if you knew somebody 30 or 40 years ago who said that he practiced or she practiced meditation, this would be somebody who immediately take a half a step back. Well, what's really going on here? So, you know, and now it's very, very different, as you're probably aware. It's much more commonly talked about and practiced. So the first articles on health benefits of meditation appeared in around 1970. And we know that meditation is actually the first mind-body intervention to be widely adopted in mainstream healthcare. And it's now taught at medical settings, including the Veterans Administration clinics, where it's prescribed as a technique for some people for relaxing the mind and the body. So, Benson, as I mentioned, was a pioneer in establishing the efficacy of meditation, and his great credentials in his university affiliation didn't hurt at all that he was at Harvard. Along with the world-class quality of his work, led to him publishing a number of breakthrough articles in very prestigious journals. And this book that I mentioned, The Relaxation Response, became a bestseller in the mid-70s, and it's still very widely read. And his studies showed that meditation is an antidote to stress. Under stress, the nervous system activates what's called a fight-flight response. That's probably the term you've heard used a number of times. And that's characterized by increased heartbeat, increased respiratory rate, blood pressure goes up, you consume more oxygen. And this response, this fight or flight response, has an important survival function. We need it. It's a good thing we can do that. It's saved, not in the present, certainly our ancestors saved in the past. It helps an organism to run quickly to escape attack, fight off an attacker. But when it's activated repeatedly under stress in modern times, it brings about a stress response syndrome. Meditation acts directly to counteract all those physiological aberrations, all those physiological elevations that I described just a moment. Here's the boring part, which I'll skip over. This, very briefly, despite his pioneering work, it took a long time for this work and this approach to wellness to be recognized. And the government, the federal government, first established the Office of Alternative Medicine, the OAM, which was very poorly funded, and then it became the National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine. I think people call that NCCAM, and that's was founded with a budget of over $50 million. So things really got rolling. And now mindfulness meditation is considered within the realm of what is complementary and alternative medicine. So it's got all recognition by the government. Okay, so story or narrative number 3 is about somebody named John Kabat-Zinn, a biologist at the University of Massachusetts Medical School. Anybody know the name John Kabat-Zinn? Oh, good. So I'll introduce you. About 8 years ago, I became aware of him, and he's an author, and he wrote a book with a really title. It's called Full Catastrophe Living. Anybody know where that comes from? Anybody ever see the movie Zorba the Greek? Okay, a few heads are nodding. Yeah, there's a scene, it's an old movie, and I think Alan Bates was in it too. If you're a YouTube user, you'll find it. It's a really great clip where Zorba, who's lamenting and celebrating the fullness of his life, says something about a younger person who's sort of sidekick Alan Bates. He's saying something like, "Yes, I did the whole thing: marriage, family, life, house, the full catastrophe." So this is what John Kabat-Zinn borrowed. The title is Full Catastrophe Living. And the rest of the title is Using the Wisdom of Your Body and Mind to Face Stress, Pain, and Illness. Let me tell you a little bit more about it. This book was first published 25 years ago and is recognized as a landmark in mindfulness and mindfulness meditation. John Kabat-Zinn developed, he was a biologist, and he developed mindfulness meditation as an adjunct to pain regulation in medical settings. At the medical school, doctors were telling him that their patients were coming to them, the physicians, with pain, principally abdominal pain. Abdominal pain is a very challenging symptom for physicians. Patients will show up with abdominal pain. Physicians will do a lot of tests, thorough exams, to not find anything. And much to the dismay of the patient, and much to the dismay of the physician as well, somebody with pain that's undiagnosed really feels really left without something, not even a name, much less not even a remedy. But nevertheless, there were a large number of people who were consulting doctors on the gastrointestinal service at the medical center, and the physicians had nothing for them. John Kabat-Zinn developed mindfulness meditation as an approach to help people who were dealing with chronic pain. And the physicians, much less the patients, were quite relieved to have this as a remedy because it worked. The pain didn't disappear. People found that they had a way, which they were in control of, to manage the pain that was interfering with their lives. And that's when John Kabat-Zinn created what is now a standard course in mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR. It's an 8-week course, 2 hours a week on a given day for 8 consecutive weeks. And it's a wonderful introduction to the whole field of mindfulness-based stress reduction. You learn body awareness. There's yoga exercises. You learn this elegant but very elusive idea of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. Practice it usually in a small group of maybe 8 to 15 people. Buddy up a little bit. Exercises that you do in between weeks. Should give you tapes or CDs that you can use to practice, and it can become, if you wish, part of the life, incorporated into your life. That's the course that I took. That was my introduction to mindfulness meditation. So let me talk now a little bit more specifically about what mindfulness, what it's comprised of, what it actually is. And I'm going to describe 8 tenets of mindfulness, 8 mental attitudes of mindfulness. There's some overlap between and among them, so some of them sound similar. That's expected. The first is beginner's mind. sometimes call student's mind. It's a quality of mind that enables you to see things time. It's often accompanied by a sense of curiosity, sometimes by a sense of awe or wonderment. A sign on a zendo, you know what a zendo is? It's where Buddhists go to practice meditation, have classes, etc. A sign is this is a joke. I don't know if you're going to get it. I'll tell you the joke. Sign on a zendo, it reads: students wanted, inquire within. Cue the laughter. The joke is, to find your beginner's mind, you have to inquire within yourself. There's another book titled by John Kabat-Zinn, Let Everything Become Your Teacher. So being able to be a student is also being able to be ready, to be empty. There's a story that's told about a professor, a learned professor, of course, who comes to learn from a Zen master. The Zen master offers him a cup of tea. Of course, the professor happily accepts. He holds the cup, and the teacher begins to pour the tea until the cup overflows, and he keeps on pouring, and the tea spills out onto the floor. The professor objects. What's going on here? He says, and the teacher explains, a mind already full cannot take anything in. This was a very critical lesson for this individual professor. So that's student mind, beginner's mind, openness to inquiry and to newness. Another component of mindfulness is non-judging. It's the quality of mind that involves cultivating impartial observation in regard to any experience, not labeling thoughts, feelings, or sensations as good or bad. We all want to know if what we're feeling is good. We all want to know if what we're feeling is bad. We all want to know if we're feeling the right thing, or if they're feeling the wrong thing, or if we're thinking the right way, or if we're thinking the wrong way. It's inescapable. The function of judging. We're always judging. Another way of thinking judging is evaluating. We're always evaluating what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we have, what we don't have, but what someone else has, what someone else doesn't have. Always making these comparisons. It's also sometimes called comparative mind. So this activity of judging is something that we're never going to really escape. But with mindfulness, we want to recognize how judging interferes or gets in the way with just seeing things as they are, just having the ability to take in an impartial way and observe whatever it is that we might be experiencing. You're probably aware that there are moments when you're not judging, you're just seeing things or just experiencing things, and there's a kind of natural relaxation or relief. Your mind is somewhat quieter when you're in that state. So non-judgment is something that you can also cultivate through mindfulness and mindfulness meditation. The third tenet of mindfulness is acknowledgement. That's a quality of awareness that validates and acknowledges that things exist. That's not profound. That sounds easy. Of course things exist. But you might have noticed in yourselves or others how you will sometimes have an attitude of insistence or stubbornness that can prevent acknowledgement and get in its way. It's as though, for some people, sometimes to acknowledge something is giving ground, capitulating to something or to someone else. It can help immeasurably in cultivating this quality to just allow things to be as they are. And then, you can perhaps think about plans or alternatives if you want to change things. First, you have to allow, well, and you know that the expression, it is what it is, right? That's about acknowledgement. People say that a lot. A fourth tenet of mindfulness is non-striving. These are one of my favorites. So with non-striving, there's a quality of awareness that where there's no need to change. There's no grasping after anything. There's no need to move away from whatever arises in the moment. In other words, non-striving means not trying to get anywhere other than where you are, where you happen to be. For elaboration on this, I really like a quote from the Romantic poet John Keats. He, in sending a letter to his brothers, he was writing about William Shakespeare. And here's the quote from Keats. "At once it struck me, what quality went to form such a man of achievement? I mean, negative capability. That is, we are capable of being in uncertainties, in mysteries, doubts, without any irritable reaching after fact and reason. What Keats is emphasizing is the non-necessity of resolving a conflict. It's like if you have an itch, you have to scratch it. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have to be irritated by something that seems to bother you. Maybe it's uncertainty or doubt or mystery. Maybe you can just let it be and have this quality that's in a funny way described as negative capability. Pema Chodron is a notable American figure in Tibetan Buddhism. I recommend her books to you. The suggestive titles of her books include The Places That Scare You, Start Where You Are, A Guide to Compassionate Living, and most relevant to this, Living Beautifully with Uncertainty and Change. And finally, my favorite, When Things Fall Apart. About this book, Things Falling Apart, it's a kind of testing and also a kind of healing. We think that the point is often in life to pass a test, to get through something, to overcome something, to get from here to somewhere else. But the truth is that things don't really get solved, not really fully ever completely solved, and that instead they come together again and then they fall apart again. It's just like the healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, room for relief when things seem to come together, for misery and for joy. The fifth tenet of mindfulness has the title equanimity. It's a quality of awareness that involves balance, and that balance, that quality, fosters wisdom. It allows a deep understanding of the nature of change. It's slow and hard. It allows you to be with change with greater insight and greater compassion as you're going through it. This change is painful. It's not just slow and hard, it's also painful. Alan Wallace is a psychologist who's written a lot on what he calls balance. And I think when I think of equanimity, I always think right away of balance, staying balanced. He was born a Protestant to a Protestant minister father, and he was drawn to science very early in his life. So he was caught up with this duality, this conflicting worldview of these two domains, the empirical world of science and also spirituality. He dropped out of his life as he was living it when he was 20, went to study Tibetan Buddhism, a culture where he found no such conflicting worldviews. He stayed there till he was 34, came back, got a bachelor's degree in physics from Amherst University, and he's gone on to have a career as a philosopher, translator, practitioner, in which he continues ongoing integration of science and spirituality, Western and Eastern traditions. Both. That's some form of equity. There's a brain. It's a good thing we're inside and dry and warm. The sixth quality is called letting be. Anybody be this open? Is that your first thought? Something's open somewhere. See how easy it is to become distracted. Something's wrong. Okay? Another technique in mindfulness is to ask yourself, what's not wrong? Okay? Along the lines of counting blessings. What's not wrong, I particularly like because we're always thinking about what's wrong needs to be fixed, needs to be tended to, needs to be remedied. What's not wrong is the root side of the drive. So with letting be, with this quality of mind, you can simply let things be as they are, with no need to try to change whatever is present. It's similar to non-striving. And here, with letting be, we're into the notion of acceptance, which I'm sure is a term, word that you think about a great deal. Acceptance is the starting point of all change. It's not the same as resignation. Resignation, I think, has temporality built into it. You're resigned to something. It's something that's never going to change. There's a finality to it. Right? Acceptance is accepting things as they are, and back to that definition, in the moment. Because, to quote John Kabat-Zinn, the present moment is all we really have. We don't know about the future. The past is already past. We're always just living. So acceptance, partly different from resignation, has to do with paying attention to what's going on currently and letting it be as it actually is. It also, if you want to take a view of acceptance as the past, is letting the past be the past. People will often have a lot of regrets or bad feelings about things that they've done or things that they haven't done. And one way to, in a mindful approach, one way to try to come to terms with that is to simply remind yourself that it already happened. It already happened. Sometimes people have regrets as well in the past, as if they think that to think about it, they can somehow undo it or make it happen in a different way. They only keep thinking it over. Well, sure, it's useful to learn from past mistakes, but dwelling on them and thinking about regrets really is different from letting things be. And there is a certain peace that can come if you can learn to let certain things be. We spend a lot of time and energy fighting things as if there were no other course, as if preparing to live with things the way they are were not even acceptable. Religious and psychological approaches alike often suggest the path of acceptance when a situation is both disliked and unchangeable, or when change may be possible only at great cost or great risk. Acceptance implies not only a lack of outward behavioral attempts at change, but also more specifically felt or hypothesized cognitive or emotional state in notions of acceptance. These notions are prominent in many faiths and many meditation practices. In Buddhism, there's something called the Five Noble Truths. The first noble truth is all life is suffering. It invites people to accept that to a degree, suffering is always some part of life. The term Kabbalah in Judaism means literally receiving or accepting. The big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, for people who know anything about AA, describes the importance of acceptance in recovery from alcoholism. It's the first step. And without the first step, there's no second, third, etc. It states that acceptance can be used to resolve situations where a person feels disturbed by a person, place, or thing or situation, some fact of life which is unacceptable. It teaches that on the path to serenity, it's important to accept that nothing happens by mistake. I don't think that that's an endorsement of predestination. The way I understand that is maybe it's a way of saying that it's unwise to attempt to rectify or reverse certain facts. Things happen. They just aren't. The seventh tenet of mindfulness is termed self-reliance. This quality of awareness helps you see for yourself, from your own experiences, what is true or untrue. It accepts that you are a reference. In practice, all insight must come from our own experience anyway. We can't get insight from anyone else's experience. Critical investigation, it comes from reasoning and not by just blindly accepting things. This doesn't discount the value of heeding advice from people who may be wise, but together, considering this advice and examining your own experiences are important sources for refining mindful practice. Eighth and last of the tenets is self-compassion. This is a quality of awareness that cultivates love for yourself as you are, without self-blame or criticism. Self-compassion, which is not the same as not trying to improve yourself. You'll always want to improve yourself, always want to make our condition a little bit better. But today, my condition is the condition that it is. I can't start from there. I'm not going to get to tomorrow. Self-compassion requires approaching one's negative thoughts and emotions with neither suppression nor exaggeration. Negative emotions can be observed in line with other mindful tenets, along with curiosity, acceptance, and balance, and be held in mindful awareness. In mindful approaches, one isn't over-identified with mental or emotional phenomena, so that one is not narrowly focusing or ruminating on one's negative emotions. And compassion for others, it's said, also begins with the self. I'm sure you've thought that or heard it or been told that. Compassion for others begins with the self. The practice of mindfulness promotes development of attitudes of compassion for the self and others simultaneously in the world. So that's the long narrative. That's narrative number 3, all about mindfulness. Now I'm talking about who is using mindfulness today. As I mentioned, mindfulness is really enjoying the moment, the zeitgeist moment, all the time. Mindfulness is being used in successful workplaces. For example, hospitals where errors occur. Training in mindfulness seems to reduce errors. Isn't that amazing? Because it's about paying attention, about clarifying, not doing whatever you're doing at the moment that you're doing, relatively free, relative freedom from distractions. It's used in elementary schools. Kids are being taught mindfulness meditation. Do you know that? It absolutely astounded me. I never thought of a youngster as somebody who learned meditation. Student mind, open up. It's happening. Youngsters are learning. They take to it. They take to it somewhat naturally. And then there's a book called a child's book that I came across called Moody Cow, and it's about Moody Cow who practices mindfulness meditation and has some sort of way of not being so weighed down and so thrown by her varying moods from moment to moment. College students are practicing mindfulness meditation. We used to call them college counseling centers. I mean, this is a college counseling center. Now you know what they're called? Counseling and wellness centers. You will be hard pressed to search and find a college counseling center on any campus that does not offer or say that they offer mindfulness meditation. They've all pretty much caught it. As I mentioned, in workplaces, medical settings as well. And I talked earlier about the discovery of mindfulness in relation to work with patients with chronic pain. There is reduced frequency and intensity of abdominal pain for people who are suffering and practice mindfulness. And interestingly, there's abdominal pain there's an alarmingly high rate of reported abdominal pain in people with histories of physical and sexual abuse. Just why that's so, I haven't really found an explanation for, but as a psychologist, that's something that caught my attention. Cardiac patients, here's a really valuable intervention. There's a reduction in the incidence of second heart attacks in individuals who practice mindfulness. Physicians, as I was alluding to, who are trained in mindfulness, listen to patients better. Do you know the average number of words that a patient utters before a physician interrupts? Take a guess. Well, it's a little more than 2. It's 7. Can you imagine? Well, today I wanted to tell you how you get interrupted. On average. I'm sympathetic to physicians. They have pressures that they're their patients don't bring to them that are brought to them by the structure of medical practice today. But, physicians who are trained in mindfulness, probably they want to. It's their intention to be a different kind of physician, or more relaxed or holding physician, but they don't interrupt their patients nearly as much. They spend a lot more time listening and taking in what their patients say. If you do a search on mindfulness meditation, you'll find probably a dozen or more other conditions for which it's being used as an intervention, and where there's evidence that shows that it's ameliorative, that it's helpful. Just to name one that doesn't necessarily make sense, you could think psoriasis. Patients who have psoriasis and are not interested in using medicine, steroidal medications, as a remedy, practice mindfulness, have a much easier time. Okay, of course, the scientists are doing neuroimaging studies. They're looking at the brain, functional MRI studies of what people meditate, what their brains look like before, during, and after, and there are real differences. So the neuropsychologists are really neurologists are really getting interested in how mindfulness changes or affects actual brain functioning. And psychologists as well are drilling down to the components of mental processes that are responsible for the salutary effects of mindfulness. And they're coming up with a decrease in reactivity. Reactivity is right. Reactivity is jump. And before you know it, jump down somebody's throat, or you've blown off the handle in some way, or you're feeling terribly, terribly upset about something. Sometimes reactivity is just an inward sensation. There's a decrease in reactivity that comes about in mindfulness. Is principally, by one study, not responsible for its effectiveness. Also, flexibility is an increase in flexibility, the ability to consider different options, right? Living in ambiguity, right? Not that's a negative capability, not striving or reaching after a solution. And third, compassion, which we mentioned, is one of the last tenets, also seems to be responsible for the effects, salutary effects of mindfulness. A disclaimer. The promise. Meditation and mindfulness meditation in particular will reduce your cortisol levels, reduce your blood pressure, reduce your social anxiety, reduce your depression. This is what I've been telling you. It'll increase your immune response. Some studies show that. Resilience, enable greater focus, improve your relationships because you won't be so reactive, including your relationship with yourself, which will be more compassionate. It'll bolster your performance at work and bring you some inner peace and maybe even cure psoriasis. 50 Cent, the rapper, he meditates. So do Lena Dunham. So does Alanis Morissette. Steve Jobs meditated. And mindfulness is a practice sweeping through Silicon Valley. No surprise. Sports teams, boardrooms, etc., etc. Even Rupert Murdoch has tried meditating. Summed up its appeal in a haiku-like tweet. Everyone recommends, not that easy to get started, but said to improve everything. Now, it probably, here the disclaimer, it probably won't cure loneliness, it probably won't heal childhood wounds, and won't allay all fears. And meditation and spiritual practice can easily be used to suppress or avoid feeling, to escape from difficult areas of our lives. Some people meditate to escape. It's not its prescribed purpose. So it's important, if you do currently, or if you attempt to take on a meditation practice, that you not expect more than it can deliver. Mindfulness will fail you once, twice, or maybe in a moment that you feel you most need it. When I was participating in the 8-week mindfulness course that I took, there was a woman who was a very experienced meditator. She's coping with a chronic illness, and she confessed one day that it really distressed her that she practiced meditation so much, and it was so important to her, yet it failed her when she most needed it. That was very poignant. I'll never forget that. And then that is a moment of meditation, the sense of failing, right? Because that's an experience that everybody has. That's an experience you can't avoid. So if you practice mindfulness to never feel inadequate, incapable, to never feel the sense of failure about things, that's escape. A nice quote that I like from Samuel Beckett. Ever try something really, really important to you? Ever fail? Try again. Fail better. Okay, I want to read you lastly a short piece from, they have read it. It's a great YouTube. You should hear it. 2005 commencement address at Kenyon College was given by David Foster Wallace. The title is "This is Water." He was clearly into mindfulness and meditation when he gave this address. So I think this is how it starts, actually. There are these two young fish swimming along, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way, who nods at them and says, "Morning, boys, how's the water?" And the two young fish go on for a bit, and then eventually one of them looks over at the other and goes, "What the hell is water?" The point of the fish story is merely that in the day-to-day trenches of your lives, your errands, your appointments, driving in traffic, waiting in line at the grocery, at the doctor's office, the way you think, what you pay attention to, can have a critical importance, critical to determining the quality of your everyday experience. Foundations of your well-being, your everyday experience. Without the notion of choosing or directing your day-to-day awareness, you risk closed-mindedness that amounts to an imprisonment that you won't even know that you're locked up in. The practice of mindfulness is learning how to think, how to exercise some control over how you think and what you think. It means being conscious and aware enough to choose what you pay attention to, and as a result, to choose how you take meaning from the experiences that you have. Think of the old cliche about the mind being an excellent servant but a terrible master. I can take some questions if you.
I think we'll do questions all at the end.
At the end? Great, great. Thank you.
I was trying my stress reduction technique on the way here when I was stuck in traffic. Okay, I'm going to talk through the mic and then I'll probably not use the mic, but you'll let me know if that's okay. So mostly my component today is going to be experiential. We're going to be doing some movement, some stretches, and then I'm going to end in a relaxation technique called body scan, which is actually a technique of John Kabat-Zinn. But I'm just going to talk for a few minutes before we start the experiential component. When I tell people that I offer services for stress reduction, the response always is, "Oh, I could use that." We all could use that, including myself on a daily basis. We all have stress in our lives, and I just want to emphasize, which Jonathan mentioned, that it really is a natural part of our everyday lives. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It often propels us to do things and to face our daily challenges. It is problematic when it is cumulative, which Jonathan had touched on as well. It can have very negative effects on our health. So it's very important to practice techniques that can alleviate stress, whether that's through mindfulness meditation or movement, yoga, doing anything really that elicits the relaxation response. that as well. Just to reiterate, the relaxation response is a physiological state which involves a drop in heart rate and blood pressure, a slower breathing rate, restoring the body and mind to a calm and relaxed state. And relaxation helps the body's healing capacity. So if people are undergoing a health challenge, doing these techniques really can help to accelerate the healing and just to release anxiety and tension. And the less anxious you are, perhaps the less pain you might have. So it's really an invaluable technique. Okay, and on a personal note, I work for an organization called Rocking the Road for a Cure, which was founded by a woman, Dawn Frey, who is a breast cancer survivor. And I worked for an organization, I started working in 2010, and it basically provides wellness services to people who are undergoing treatment for breast cancer. And it's usually services that are provided to them at their home. So I've provided massage therapy. She also has a yoga instructor and somebody who works with people on nutrition. And 4 years into working with her, I too was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I'm really happy to be here because I'm part of the survivorship, and just it feels very special for me to be here today. And I practiced a lot of these techniques throughout my journey, and it really, really helped. I did a lot of relaxation techniques, a lot of breathing, and a lot of just checking in with myself to see what I was feeling. And I really feel like it accelerated my healing process. My physicians were very pleased with how I did. So so we're going to start. I'm going to step away from the mic, but if you can't hear me, let me know, and I'll come back. All right, so we're going to start. Just uncross your legs if your legs are crossed. Get yourself comfortable. Maybe lean against the chair. Make sure your back is fully supported by the chair. Can everybody hear me? Okay? And for a moment, close your eyes. And let's just take a moment to check in with yourself and feel what you're feeling without judgment. So you're just simply noticing what you're feeling, whether there's any kind of preoccupation with a physical symptom or if there's anything pressing on your mind, something you need to do, just simply checking in, just noticing. Just simply notice, again, without judgment. And now start to become aware of your breath. Just simply notice the rhythm of your breath without trying to change it. And if you can, notice your breath. You can either notice the air coming in and out of your nostrils, or you can feel perhaps a gentle movement in your upper chest, or perhaps you can feel a movement in your abdomen. See where you can feel the breath. And now pay attention to that. And if your mind starts to wander, just simply bring your attention right back to your breath. And there's something referred to as the monkey mind. Our minds are all over the place often. It's very common. So simply bring your attention back to the breath. Your breath is anchoring you right into this present moment. And now slowly you can open up your eyes, bring your attention back to the room. So we just did meditation. So you just focused on your breath, and you did meditation. All right. Now we're going to do a little bit of chair yoga or some simple stretches. All right. So we're going to start by warming up the neck and the shoulders. These are the areas that most of us experience a lot of tension. Actually, let's do a little self-massage. Take your right arm and just cross to your other side, or your, doesn't matter which one. Just massage the top of your shoulders. And take your fingers, if you have long nails, this might be a little bit of a challenge, but just do a little circular motion down your neck. And then just squeeze the top of your shoulders. And then just tap your arm all the way down, getting circulation going and encouraging those muscles to soften. Okay. And just rest for a moment. See if you feel a difference in the two sides of your body, just from that little bit that you did. My shoulder feels completely relaxed, and the shoulder feels all hyped up. So it's amazing what one little minute of attention to your body can do. So let's do the same to the other side so we're symmetrical. Just do a little squeezing. And then gently massage your neck. And work your way all the way down. Arm tapping. And come all the way up. And just shake that. Shaking out stress, aggravation, distraction. We're later I'm going to show you a few acupressure points that we're going to do that are good for general health and well-being, and some are good for stress. Now we're going to warm up the shoulders a little bit. So lift your shoulders all the way up to your ears, and then relax your shoulders. And again, lift the shoulders all the way up. And relax. Now we're going to incorporate that with the breath. We're going to inhale as we lift the shoulders up, and exhale as we release. And again, inhale as we lift, exhale as we release. One last time. Inhale, and exhale. And let's circle the shoulders. Circle them forward, up, back, and down. Forward, up, nice and slow, and continuous, and down. And one last time, forward circle. Okay, and let's reverse the circle. Circle back, up, forward, and down, and back, up, forward, and down, and down. Good. And last time. Very nice. Those exercises that you do every day are really, really wonderful because we do all tend to store a lot of our tension in our shoulders and our neck. Let's warm up the neck a little bit. So bring your right ear, and I'm going to mirror you, to your right shoulder. And now make sure both shoulders are relaxed. This is something that it's good to do in front of a mirror because the tendency is to lift up that shoulder. You want to make sure that shoulder's relaxed. And hopefully you feel a nice stretch along the left side of your neck. And you can take some deep breaths, allowing the muscle tissue to soften. And then reach your head all the way up, and then reach your left with your left shoulder. Notice if one side feels tighter than the other. And throughout all these exercises, let your breath be continuous. And then come all the way up. And once again, reach your right ear to your right shoulder. Come all the way up. Reach your left ear to your left shoulder. And come all the way up. And now drop your chin down to your chest, letting all those muscles in the back of your neck to soften. And then bring your head up. Imagine that there's a string attached to the center of your head, pulling you up, so that you're really elongating your spine. All right, now we're going to do a little spinal twist, but we're going to start with just head movement. So you're going to look over your right shoulder. You rotate your head, your neck, look over your right shoulder, and then come back through the center, and do the same to the other side. Just look over your left shoulder, and then come back. Okay, this time you're going to look over your right shoulder and let your whole torso follow. So you're rotating your spine. And now stay where you are, take a breath in, and as you exhale, see if you can move a little bit farther to the wall behind you without straining. And then come back to center. Let's do the same to the other side. So you're going to look over your left shoulder, rotate your whole entire spine. And then stay where you are. Take a deep breath in. And exhale without straining. See if you can go a little bit farther. Beautiful. See how we often limit ourselves, but we can often move beyond our limitation. And then come back to the center. Spinal twists are really great, and in yoga, oftentimes there are spinal twists. So you can do them in your chair, or of course, in yoga on the floor. But these, all of these things you can do during your work day. If you have privacy, you can wheel your chair back and do these simple movements. Let's warm up the torso a little bit. So you're going to reach your right arm all the way up. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to reach over to the side, getting a nice stretch all along the side of the rib cage. Come up, and lower your arm down. And let's do the same on the other side. Reach up, and lower to the side. Come up, and lower down. Let's do that again, and we're going to let one movement really flow into the next, and we're going to incorporate it with our breath. So we're going to inhale, and then exhale. Beautiful, everybody. Inhale, and exhale. And now inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Very nice. And just clasp your fingers together. Press your palms out. Reach forward a little bit so you can bend your torso forward a little. And then come back and you're bringing your hands right to your heart. And then you're going to reach forward, getting our spine warmed up still. And then come back. And let's come forward. And come back. And this time you're going to go forward and then you're going to relax your arms and do a little forward bend. So you're going to lower your head. And since we're still warming up, don't go too far. And now make sure your arms are completely relaxed. I did a strange way of getting this there. And now slowly roll all the way up. And just let your arms stay hanging by your side. Let's do another forward bend. And just go as far as you comfortably can. We're still warming up. Later we'll do another forward bend where we'll do a larger forward bend. So you're going to take a breath in. And as you exhale, lower your chin. And then slowly roll down the spine, bending as far as you can comfortably go. And then stay there. Let your head really drop down so there's no lifting of your neck. And slowly roll all the way. Okay, very nice. Beautiful. Let's warm up the wrist a little bit. You can take a hold of your arm and just warm up the wrist. And then open your fingers really wide and close them. We hold a lot of tension in our hands, so just pay attention to our hands. And relax. And let's do the same to the other side. Just rotate your wrist. And then open your fingers really wide and close and open and close and open and relax. And let's reach both arms up. Take a nice deep breath in, and as we exhale, we're going to let out a big sigh. Ah. And let's do that a few more times. Inhale, stretch, and exhale. Ah. Nice. And once again, inhale, and exhale. Ah. And just shake them. We're going to do another exercise with the arms. You're going to lift your arms up and your elbows are bent. We're going to reach our arms all the way up and then bring your hands together, palms together. And then you're going to separate and come back down. So let's do that again. Reach all the way up. And down. 2 more times. Reach up and take a rest at any time you need to. And come back down. And this time you're going to come all the way up, bring your hands together, and now we're going to stay in this position. This is mountain pose. This is a modified mountain pose in the chair, and I'm doing it standing. And you're just going to stay here. If you can close your eyes. I know I feel this in my arms right now. And just Feel your feet pressing into the floor as your hands reach up to the ceiling. Just feel a really nice sense of verticality. And then slowly lower your arms down. Beautiful. We're going to do a version of the sun salutation. How many people have practiced yoga or have a yoga? All right, good. So we're going to do a version of sun salutation sitting in the chair. You're going to bring your thumbs together. We're going to inhale, reach your arms out to the front and up. And just slightly look up towards the ceiling and arch your back so your chest is reaching up towards the ceiling. And now you're going to reach all the way down into a forward bend. So your back is bending. And then as you get down, you're going to lower your arms. You're going to release. Let your head drop down. And then slowly roll up the spine. You're going to open your palms out to the side. We'll do it more to be because of your neighbors. You're going to reach your arms up. And you can bring your hands back together in prayer position and come all the way down. Right. So we're going to do that again a few times where one movement really flows into the next. And try to breathe in as you reach out and up. And then exhale as you reach down. And then we'll inhale on the way up. But if it gets confusing to think about the breath, then don't worry about it. The main thing is just don't hold your breath. Let one movement flow into the next. And always work within your comfort range too. That's an important yoga premise, to really honor where your body's at, not to judge, not to compare yourself to anybody, and to do what feels comfortable for you. Each position should be without strain. All right? So once again, we're going to bring our hands together. Bring your thumbs together, lock your thumbs together. Inhale, reach out and up. And exhale, roll all the way down. Release your arms, roll up the spine. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Beautiful. And lower down. Let's do this a few more times. I'll try not to talk. Let's do it. Very nice. That was beautiful. Like a meditation. I'm going to show you a little Tai Chi movement. Some relaxation movement. We're going to inhale, reaching our arms up just about shoulder height. Actually, turn your palms up. And then as you exhale, you lower your arms. So let's just do that a few times. You inhale, reach your arms up to shoulder height. Exhale. And now let's try to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Inhale. Beautiful. And one more time. Inhale. And very nice. How's everybody feeling? Feel it warmed up and good. Just want to check on the time. All right, I'm going to show you a few acupressure points that are good for different things. First, I'm going to show you a point right underneath your eyebrows. And you take your thumb and your pointer. You can use your hand to support your elbow. And then if you have nails, this might be a little challenging. And then you're just going to lean forward, lean into that point. This is a really good point for sinus congestion or headache. And oftentimes when we're under stress, we get a tension headache. This is a good point for stress. Just lean into it, finding a pressure that works well for you. Sometimes people talk about good pain. You feel pain, but feels good. Definitely don't want to look at that. And then come up. And then just the area right outside of your eyebrows are again a good area for to alleviate any tension in the head. You can then also do a little massage. So with your fingers. And while we're doing massage, let's just massage the jaw a little bit, because that's an area that gets very tense. I know I clench my teeth. Do we have any other teeth clenchers? So something good to do maybe before bed, when you clench your teeth, is to open your mouth really wide. And then you can close. Actually, let's lower and let's just do that with the jaw. So you're going to open really wide. And then you're going to close really tight. This is something that's done in yoga also. You're going to close, squeeze your mouth, squeeze your nose, squeeze your eyes really tight, and then open really wide, and you can actually stick your tongue back. I forgot in yoga, is that the, remember what it's called? The lion? Anyway. And then you're going to close, again, don't worry, we all do this is silly. And then open. And then open your mouth wide. I do this in the car sometimes. So, because I notice that's when I clench my teeth. And just move your jaw around. Okay, good. And then just do a little tapping. And then I used to do breath down in the car too. I would say I'm just the palpation. And then we're going to just a little tapping. We did our arms. Let's do the, actually do your back, keyboard, do your lower back. We can even make a little fist and pound your lower back. Felt that tension. Okay. And I'm working my down your leg. Let's just work on one leg at a time. So do one leg first. And make sure you go to the back of your legs, your calf muscles. And then come up and do your other leg. Go all the way down. Go to your calf muscle. And come all the way up. Okay. Another favorite acupressure point that I pressed a lot, I pressed it actually during your Jonathan's talk, because he was doing such a beautiful job, I was getting anxious. I was trying to be mindful as well and not paralyze them. But the palace of anxiety is shiatsu that translates to me that, and it's right in the center of the palm. It's on your heart constrictor meridian. So if you bend your fingers, usually it's between the two middle fingers. So it's right in the middle of your hand. And I always say, even if it's just a placebo effect, it still is a nice thing to do. You can secretly just, nobody has to know what you're doing. So again, if you have nails, it might be challenging, but you just apply pressure to the point that feels good to you. You can stay there and take some deep breaths.
Does it matter which hand?
No, I try both hands now, just so that it doesn't matter which hand. But now change hands and just see if you feel a difference. You might notice, I know mine, for me, my dominant side is much tighter, even in just the hand. And another acupressure point that is really good for general well-being is right where underneath the index finger, in between the thumb and the index finger, press your thumb up and into that point. This is a shiatsu point, large intestine 4, but it's known for general well-being. That's a good. That's what you can also do. And then switch sides for your. And now we're going to do a little bit of abdominal breathing. So the abdomen, the diaphragm sits right underneath the rib cage. It's an umbrella-shaped muscle. And when you use your diaphragm, when you breathe deeply, when you inhale, the diaphragm contracts and pushing your abdomen out. And then when you exhale, your abdomen goes back to its resting state. If you watch a child breathe or a baby, you'll see their belly rise and fall really naturally. This is an exercise that's great to do lying down, so I always encourage people to do this maybe upon first waking up in the morning or before going to sleep at night. Or if you have time in the middle of the day, to lie on the floor with a pillow under your head, your knees maybe propped underneath the pillow, and place your hands on your abdomen and do deep diaphragmatic breathing. So let's try it right now. And if you have trouble feeling the abdomen move, try not to get frustrated. And, for some people it comes very naturally, and for others it doesn't. If you have trouble, just then concentrate on your breath. But close your eyes and see if you can first just take some breaths without forcing your breath. Just notice how your breath is naturally, and notice if you feel your abdomen rising and falling. And now try to start to slow your breath down, taking slower, deeper breaths. And if you can now, feel your belly rise into your hands as you inhale, like a balloon filling up the air, and feel the belly resting and moving back as you exhale. So again, as you inhale, the belly rises into your hands, into the balloon. And as you exhale, it softens and goes back to its. Just take a few moments to do this on your own. And you can just slowly open your eyes. All right. How does that feel? Were you able to feel the abdomen? That's a really great thing to do, especially if you're under stress. And then you can also think of, if you have your hands on your abdomen, you can think of bringing healing energy into yourself through your own hands. And I did that a lot throughout my whole process and after surgery. I did it in the hospital and did it, and I really felt that it helps. And if you can, I mean, if you're somebody who's very open to imagery, you can imagine sending white light into your body and into particular areas that need it. You can use a whole bunch of things. All right, let's warm up the ankles a little bit, legs, and then I think we'll do the body scan. So we're going to stretch the leg and just flex and point your foot. Flex and point. And then lower your leg. Reach your other leg up and just flex and point. And lower your leg. And then let's lift the right knee all the way up. And then bend your leg. And then bend your knee. Sorry about that. And now let's change sides. You're going to lift your left leg. And you're going to stretch and bend and stretch. And let's do a chair yoga pose. A forward bend. So we're just going to extend our right leg out. Your heel is on the floor, and you can move a little bit forward so your back is, you're not leaning against the chair. You're going to place your left hand, or your right hand on your leg. You're going to take a breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to slide your hand down your leg and do a forward bend. So you're keeping your foot flexed, so you probably feel a stretch in your calf muscle, along with your back. Try to let your head drop all the way down, and then come all the way up. Everybody still understood from the back? It looks like you all did a good job. Okay, so now we're going to do the same with the other leg. You're going to stretch your left leg, heel on the floor, left arm is on your thigh. You're going to take a breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to bend forward. Drop your head down. And then come all the way up. And now we're going to do a version of the triangle pose in yoga, Trikonasana. You're going to bring your leg out to the side. And again, we're going to do the same thing. You're going to have your hands on your leg, but this time we're going to bend. We're going to bend over our leg. So you can think of your right shoulder reaching over your leg, so your whole chest is open. So for those of you who are familiar or have a yoga practice, this is a version of the Trikonasana, the standing Trikonasana. So we're going to do that. We're going to take your hand, take a breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to reach your right hand, your right shoulder over your leg. Beautiful. And then if you can, you're going to reach your arm up, and you can look up towards your hand. I'm just peeking at it. Very nice. And feel the stretch along the whole left side of your rib cage. And then come all the way up. And bring your leg in. Beautiful. And now let's do the same on the other side. So you're going to take your left leg out to the side. Your left hand is on your thigh. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, you're reaching your shoulder over your leg, and then reach your left arm up. And gaze at your left hand. Feel the opening in the rib cage. And then come all the way up. Very nice, everybody. And then bring your legs back. And let's do a forward bend with both legs forward. So your heels are on the floor. You can have your hands on your legs. Take a breath in and do a forward bend. And then come all the way up. And we're going to end with a nice full body stretch, and then we're going to go into what's called the body scan. So now you're going to lean all the way back. You're completely supported by the chair. You're going to reach your arms all the way up, and then you're going to reach your legs up. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to curl into a little ball. So you're going to bend your elbows, bend your head, curl into a little ball, contracting. And now we're going to expand. Inhale, stretch, expanding. And exhale, curl into a ball, contracting. Beautiful. Just a few more times. Inhale, stretch. Exhale. And last time, inhale, stretch. And exhale, contract into the ball. And then you can relax your arms, relax your head, and slowly lower. I do that with my seniors. I teach at an assisted living facility. They love that. So, okay, we're going to do now what's called the body scan. So I'm going to have you get comfortable. Check that.
It seems like scan.
A body scan.
S-C-A-N.
Yeah. Okay. So what I want you to do is just get yourself comfortable. So lean against make sure your back is completely supported. This is something that can be done laying down. You want your body to just really be passive. So you can lay down at home and do this again with a pillow under your head, a pillow under your knees, and your body is really completely relaxed. But right now, just let the chair support your body, support your back, and close your eyes. And take a moment once again to check in with yourself, just as you did earlier. And simply note how you're feeling right now. Notice if you feel any differently than when you did earlier, after that movement. Just simply check in, again, without judgment. And start to bring your attention to your breath once again. Noticing wherever you feel the breath, whether you feel the air coming in and out of your nostrils, whether you feel a movement in your upper chest, or whether you feel your abdomen rising and falling. Just notice your breath. And once again, you're going to use your breath to anchor you into the present moment. So if you find yourself distracted or if your mind wanders, take notice of that and bring your attention back to the breath. And I'm going to have you bring your attention to various parts of your body, but throughout, you can always come back and focus on your breath. So right now, I'm going to have you imagine a beautiful ray of sunlight shining on your head, relaxing your scalp. So bring your attention to your scalp. Allowing that ray of sunshine to help relax the scalp and letting that relaxation move down to your forehead. Relaxing the forehead. And just becoming aware of the space above your eyebrows and in between your eyebrows. And now bringing your attention to your eyes, allowing them just to be closed very softly. And become aware of the depth of the eye sockets. Relaxing your eyes. And then let that relaxation flow down to your jaw muscles, relaxing your whole entire face. Your jaw is relaxed, your lips are relaxed. Bring your attention now to your neck. Relaxing the back of your neck, the sides of your neck, and the front of your neck. Relaxing your throat. And now you can allow that relaxation to move down to your whole entire torso, the front of your torso. Relaxing your chest, your heart, your lungs. If you like the imagery of the sunshine, you can imagine a ray of sunshine deeply penetrating your heart and your lungs and bringing healing energy to those organs. And allowing that warmth to radiate down into all of your abdominal organs, relaxing your abdominal organs, relaxing your whole entire torso. And now bring your attention to your whole entire back. Become aware of the length of your spine, all the way from the top of your spine, at the base of your head, all the way down to the tailbone. Think of all of the spaces in between the vertebrae. Become aware of how long your spine is. Relaxing the area around your spine. Relaxing the area in between your shoulder blades. Become aware of the width of your back as well as the length of your back. And now relaxing your upper back, your middle back, and your lower back. And bring your attention to the buttocks, relaxing the buttocks, and relaxing the hips. And now bring your attention to your left or your right shoulder. And allow that relaxation to flow all the way down your shoulder, your right shoulder, all the way down your arm. Relaxing your upper arm, becoming aware of the space between the top of your shoulder and your elbow. So you become aware of how long that is. And then relaxing your forearm, becoming aware of the space between your elbow and your fingertips. Allowing the muscles of your right arm to soften, to relax, and to let go of tension. Allowing that shoulder to relax. And now bring your attention to your left shoulder, relaxing the shoulder. Relaxing your upper arm. Become aware of the space between your shoulder and your elbow. And now from your elbow to your fingers, lengthening your arm. Bring your awareness now to both of your arms. Just experience feeling both arms. Becoming aware of the length of your arms from your shoulders all the way out to your fingertips. Bring your attention to your hands now. Relaxing the wrists, palms of your hands, and all of the fingertips. Let tension and stress just flow out of your fingers. Bring your attention now to your right hip joint. You can imagine that sunshine deeply penetrating your hip joint, bringing warmth and healing energy. And let the relaxation now radiate down your leg, relaxing your thigh muscles, relaxing the front of your thigh, the back of your thigh, the sides of your thigh. And letting the relaxation flow down your leg, relaxing your lower leg, your shin. Letting the muscles of your thighs soften. And now bring your attention to your left leg. Once again, relaxing your hip joint. Imagine the sunshine deeply penetrating that hip joint. Allow the relaxation to flow down your leg, behind your kneecap, your knees, all the way down the leg, relaxing the calf muscle. And now bring your attention to both of your feet, relaxing your feet, relaxing the heels, the soles of your feet, your toes, the tops of your feet. And letting any tension or stress just melt out of your feet. And now bring your attention to your whole entire body. So you feel the connectedness from your head all the way down to your toes. Take notice if there's any area that needs extra attention. If there's an area you feel discomfort, you can think of breathing into that particular area. Again, feel the connectedness of your whole entire body. And once again, bring your attention back to the breath. your attention, keeping your eyes closed, bring your attention back to the room, becoming aware of your surroundings. And take this moment once again to check in with yourself and see how you're feeling. Notice if you feel any differently than you did when we started this. You can slowly open up your eyes, just wiggle your fingers around a little bit. And maybe stretch as if you're just waking up in the morning. And maybe alternate your arms, stretching one arm. Clasp your hands together, stretch your palms out. And lower. And let's bend the elbows. I want to do one more spinal twist. You're just going to rotate to the right. Look behind you. And then rotate to the other side. And then once again to the right. Oh, that's nice. We come to the party about that. And the other way. And come back to the center. Let's do what we did earlier. You're going to reach forward, and then you're going to bring your arms back to your heart. And you're going to reach forward, and back to the heart. And one last time, reach forward, and back to the heart. And just lower your arms. Thank you. So, did anybody feel any differently after the body scan? You might feel so, I think that's it. I am a little nervous. Thank you so much.
I feel more relaxed. Does anybody have any questions for either of our speakers? We're all so relaxed.
I feel like some of the things that Jonathan was talking about are the things that he wants me to let go of, that I embrace in order to do my job. So that the stress is actually a tool I use. Looking for what is wrong is a tool I use to put out the fires, to make sure that things are going well in my duties and my responsibilities. So, and I sort of am having a difficult time trying to figure out how do I practice both sides of that coin, if that's even possible.
A lot of this is paradoxical. That's why I started off by saying that I think that you're paying attention. In the present, without judgment, sounds easy, sounds simple. But what seems to occur is that if you practice mindfulness, the work of finding what needs fixing, the work of discriminating among all, let's say you get to work, okay, as I do, and I've got a queue of emails. When I look at them and go, oh my God, this is not a wall to climb. Just like yesterday, I thought I went through all these. But, you know, and I have to make discriminations. I have to make evaluations of what's important, what's not important, what needs attention right now. But wait, my ability to do that seems to be enhanced if I have clarity, if I'm a little bit more relaxed, if I have less turmoil, if I have less stress about having to do that. So it may be more the freedom from the urgency about making discriminations and evaluations and judgments. As I think I mentioned, judgment is a function, it's a facility. You have to have it. You really can't get along without it. You make judgments all the time. Is there enough time, for me to make that left turn? Should I wait for the left to turn with me? Your ability to do that seems to be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit less pressure, a little bit more possible. Just thinking about doing it now after having gone through, with the exercises that Lauren was giving us, it just seems like it would be easier. for meditating, for yoga, body scan, it's relaxing and stress relief in the moment that you're doing it. And that's the immediate effect that Lauren's asking you about, you're observing. But if you do it on a regular basis, do it a few times a week, a curious thing happens. It's not just the doing it and the feeling of relaxation and warming up and feeling good, but when you actually do it, something else stays with you, a certain freedom from the activity, a certain clarity, a certain ability to more calmly go about your daily life improves. And that's a little more subtle, a little harder to grasp than the actual time that you spend doing yoga or meditating. But that seems to be something that follows once you start. That's a great question. That's a really great question.
Any other questions? Well, thank you all so much for coming out today during our first lunchtime forum. If you could make sure to fill out the evaluation form. And one question we realized we did not ask on there, if you could just indicate whether this lunchtime part is a good time. Just like lunchtime was great, or evening will do better, or whatever. If you did not, raise your hand if you did not pick up an evaluation form on your way. Oh, we'll grab a couple extras, and then if you could just hand them to any of the staff members, but particularly Lena or Heather on your way out. And again, just a big round of applause for Jonathan and Laura.
I have brochures of the Washington literature. I don't know anybody going to treatment right now.